Hello guys, this is Adam, aka Gaming Shepherd. Welcome back to Higurashi. Now, let's see, in the last episode we had a sort of contest at school of who could make the best curry, and it was in the home economics class, I think it was called. And we actually won despite not making any curry, and we had to go home without eating any lunch. But a friend of ours came home with a bento box, which was nice. So let's see, I might have explained this before, but Phys Ed at our school is really just an exercise in disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. We're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep.
よくは知らないけど、教育委員会とかに教育指導要項とかあるだろう。何歳ならこれくらいの運動能力がなければいけないみたいなさ。
圭一さんが何を言ってるのか難しくてさっぱりですわ。先生の授業の進め方のルールみたいなものなの。
都会の軟弱な連中にはそういうのは必要だろうけどさ、田舎育ちのうちらが身体能力で劣ると思う？
僕たちは圭一が思ってるよりも運動神経はいいのです。
Come to think of it, they might be right. If we all lined up for a race, there was a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, the 100-meter dash isn't a club activity.
ではそういうことで、俺はテレビの見過ぎで実に素敵に眠い。睡眠時間の補給をさせてもらうぜ。空腹絶頂の4次元目。今寝ずにいつ寝るよ。
As I began to sprawl out on top of a pipe, Mian grabbed me by the collar.
ちっちっち。まさかおとなしく眠らせてもらえると思ってる？
その顔で言われたら、おとなしく寝る方が勇気がいりそうだ。
Good grief. Which means, is it going to start again?
さて、このまま井戸端会議でチャイムを待つなんて、熱き血潮のたぎった私たちには無理だよね。部活タイム、行ってみよっか。
し、案の定来やがったな。今日のゲームはなんだ
？Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, with this sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I have to get my brain into gear.
レナはそれより今日の罰ゲームは何かなの方が先だと思うな。
レナは分かってるね。今日もとびっきりのを用意してるよ。
She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. But before she could do that...
ごめんなさいです。僕はちょっとやりたいことがありますです。
Of all people, it was Rika-chan announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Miyun spun like a top as she tumbled to the ground.
あれれれれれれれれ。何？どうしたの？今日は調子悪いの？
あ、そうか。みーちゃん、綿流しの練習だよ。そうですわよ。今度の日曜日ですので。リクは猛特訓中なのですわよ。最近は頑張りすぎてお腕が痛いのです。
そっか。じゃあ仕方ないな。全員揃わないなら仕方ない。今日は各自のんびりしようかね。
ごめんなさいなのです。でも頑張りますですよ。頑張ってね。レナたちも応援してるからね。
When Miyun announced that today's club activities was cancelled, Rika-chan and Satuko headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everybody was talking about.
一体何なんだ？リカちゃんは何か大会前とかで特訓をしてるのか？
リカちゃんは綿流しの巫女さんだから奉納の演舞をすることになっててね。その練習なの。
Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, what is this Watanagashi? Next, what do you mean by Shrine Maiden? Last, what do you mean by Ritual Dance?
あれ？ケイちゃん家には回覧板とか行ってない？書いてなかった？今度の日曜に綿流しのお祭りがあるって。
Huh? Come to think of it, I have a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. The Watanagashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on a Sunday every June. It's very lively. I see. But Watanagashi sounds like a pretty strange name for it. Is it something like the Lantern Festival where they have a memorial for the dead by floating things down the river?
お、さすがはケイちゃん。察しがいいね。綿流しはね、名前の通り綿を流すんだよ。
The cotton you see is from futons or jackets, so it'd be something like a futon memorial.
祭壇にもお布団を積み上げているし。
Congratulations, Rena, your voice is back. I've heard of people leaving offerings of things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or to casualties of war. But an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? Miyun tilted her head pensively.
言われなんてほど難しいのはないと思うな。この辺って冬の寒さはかなり厳しいからね。布団とか斑点とかの防寒具を特に大切にしたからじゃないかな。
ああ、なるほどな。つまり冬の間お世話になった布団に感謝しようってわけだ。で、巫女さんが供養をして最後に川に流すわけか。それが綿流しってわけだろ。
Miyun and Rena indicated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause.
でねでね、その供養をする巫女さんの役がリカちゃんなの。
へえ、リカちゃんが巫女なんだ。言われてみればリカちゃんってどことなく神秘的な雰囲気あるよな。
だよね、だよね。リカちゃんの巫女さん姿ってね、かわいいんだよ。
It certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute.
ようやく話が見えてきたぞ。リカちゃんの言う特訓ってのはこの巫女さん役の練習なわけだな。
そういうこと。巫女さんが布団をお祓いする一連のセレモニーを奉納演舞って呼ぶんだけどね。それの練習なんだよ。結構大変なんだな、これが。
巫女さんはね、祭事用の大きなクワを持って演舞をするんだけど、それがね、リカちゃんにはすっごく重いらしいの。
リカちゃんってちっちゃいもんな。その重いクワってどのくらい重いんだ？
かなり重いらしいよ。リカちゃんは餅つき用のキネで練習してるくらいだから。
Wait a minute. That's way too heavy. Forget about Rika-chan. That'd be rough even for me.
祭事用の神聖なクワだからね。間違って落としちゃったら大変らしいし。
まあ年に一度のお勤めだからね。私 たちは陰ながら応援するしかないね。大丈夫。去年もちゃんとやり遂げたんだから。
そっか。じゃあさ、せめて応援してやろうぜ。それくらいならいいだろう。
I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. Mion laughed as she shook her head.
ほっといてあげなよ。ケイちゃんが来たらリカちゃんは可愛くなっちゃうから特訓ができなくなるよ。
I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying.
リカちゃんはね、努力とかそういうのを人に見せるのが好きじゃないの。ね、そっとしておいてあげて。
Even the always cool and aloof Rika-chan has times when she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see an ungainly side of her. It's not like I couldn't understand that feeling.
俺にできるのは成功を祈ることだけってことか。頑張れフルでリカ、応援してるから。
Well then, I climbed up onto the pipe and plopped down on my side.
リカちゃん、さらに応援の電波を高めるため、これより瞑想状態に入る。
結局寝るわけか。
The lackadaisical noontime ended up giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition.
さすがに食いすぎた。午後の授業は答える。
ケイチくん、今日はなんだかすごい食欲だったもんね。
基本的にいつも大食いだけどさ、今日はなんか格別だったね。
昨日は俺昼飯抜きだったろ。そのひもじさが染みついちゃってさ、今度は逆にいくら食っても食欲が底なしっていうか。
わかるよわかるよ。しかしケイちゃんってさ、いつもお弁当きれいに食べるよね。ご飯一粒も残さないっていうか。
食べ物ってのは作ってくれた人に感謝して食べるもんだぜ。残したら苦労して作ってくれた人に失礼だろ。
Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh.
ケイちゃんってさ、ぱっと見ワイルドでいい加減そうなんだけど、結構律儀だよね。しつけがいいというか。
それはレナも思うな。ケイチくんって見かけよりずっと優しい人だよ。
Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but I had a strange feeling I wasn't being complimented at all.
そんなことないって。見かけと中身は大違いってそう言いたいんだよ。
それが褒めてねって言ってんだよ。
こら、園崎さん、前原くん、授業中ですよ。園崎さんはどこまで進みましたか？ノートを持ってきてください。
Startled, Mion vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she had stopped working completely.
まあそこそこに。さっきから全然進んでないじゃないですか。最上級生なんだからもっとしっかりしないといけませんよ。
That Mion, it looks like she's getting lectured. Poor bastard.
人は見かけによらないっていうことだね。むしろ見かけとは逆がまことかもしれないよ。
面白いこと言うじゃねえか。
Responding to Rina's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Satoko was happily studying together with Rika-chan.
あの生意気盛りのサトコも実は見かけとは逆にすげえ塩らしいってのかよ。
If I went by what Rina literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Satoko being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale.
最近はあんな感じだけど、ちょっと前までは違ったんだよ。すごい甘えん坊で、いつもさとこちゃんには内緒ね。
あのサトコが甘えん坊？
For Satoko to play coy, I think that would have to be some part of some calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. But since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Satoko.
おいサトコ。
何ですのお兄様。
Satoko smiled cutely and walked towards me. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Satoko took, for some reason, I took 3 steps away.
お兄様、なんで逃げますの？
すまんサトコ。お前が愛想笑いして近づいてくると何かの罠のような気がするんだよ。
ひどいですわ。お兄様の意地悪。
ごめん、別に悪気があったわけじゃないんだ。
The weeping Satoko came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click. Clank. Huh? A bear trap? My leg was being clamped down on by a jagged metal teeth.
かかりましたわね。続けていきますわよ。
Satoko raised her right arm triumphantly, and traps began to trigger one after another. Suddenly the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal bat covered in spikes hurtling towards me. On top of that, in the direction the ball would knock me was a giant guillotine.
よくわかんないけど、ケイチ君、今すっごく突拍子もない想像してなかった？
いや別に全然してないぞ。
嘘だ。渡月鉄球に潰されるって顔してたよ。
How could my expression convey what I was thinking like that?
すまん。塩らしいサトコの想像ってのはかなり無理がある。今度体調がいい時に再トライしてみるよ。
Next I looked over at Rika-chan, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Satoko, her default state was meek and gentle. If Rika-chan came at me saying, "Oni-sama," I'd hug her tightly. I could get used to that.
ケイチ君よだれ。
あー、ごめん。じゃあリカちゃんはどうだよ。あれも見かけによらないってのかよ。
Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika-chan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she really was quite sly. Sweetly. How do you put it? Evading things deftly.
確かにリカちゃんはただ可愛いだけじゃない気がするな。確かに見かけによらないぞ。
I couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Rina managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, "Ah, you shouldn't say something like that.
リカちゃんはきっと大きくなったらね、すっごい美人になって男の人を振り回す小悪魔のような女性になるんじゃないかなって思うんだ。そういうのかっこよくない？
Rina said that light-heartedly, but I, as a man, couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was that it felt like it could be true. Noticing my gaze, Rika-chan turned towards me and let loose with an angelic smile. Both Rina and I, feeling as if that was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat.
レナ、鼻血鼻血。
Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader, Miyun? I stared at her as she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Rina's theory, that unrefined, calculating, conniving Miyun also had a side of her that belied appearances.
じゃあなんだよ。あのミオンも見かけによらず、実はいいやつだって言いたいのかよ。
みーちゃんはいい人だよ。
あ、まあそりゃそうだけどさ。そういう意味じゃなくて、その。
ケイチくんの言いたい意味、わかるよ。
Catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Rina smiled even more brightly.
わかるって何がだよ。
みーちゃんって不思議でしょ。女の子なんだけど男の子みたいっていうか。
That's right. Miyun was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Rina said. When Miyun livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender.
あいつが男だったらきっと意気投合するだろうな。ってそりゃ今と同じか。
でもね、そんなみーちゃんも本当はすっごく女の子らしいんだよ。
レナ、お前ミオンにいくらもらったんだよ。
違うの。もうちゃんとした話をしてるんだよ。
Rina began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to yoke around.
みーちゃんは部活の部長さんだからみんなのリーダーとして頑張ってるけど、本当はとっても可愛い女の子なんだよ。それ特にケイチくんには忘れてほしくないの。
Rina's gaze focused off into the distance beyond where Miyun was. The Miyun that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Miyun that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job, it was a far cry from the brash and confident Miyun. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Miyun, but as Shiyun. What exactly was Shiyun to Miyun? What kind of person was Miyun exactly?
多分ケイチくんには想像つかないと思うな。
As if to say it was our little secret, Rina held her fingers up to her lips as she giggled. Miyun, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment.
おじさんはね、人生に必要な勉強は小学校までで十分だと思ってんだよ。
Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Miyun was actually really feminine. Right. I wonder if I can meet Shiyun again. I wanted to talk to her again. Clang, clang. The principal waved around the bell that served as the school chime. The teacher rushed back to the blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments.
今日は宿題が結構出そうだね。頑張らないと。
じゃあさ、レナもってことか？
何がかな？
人は見かけによらないって話、レナもってことになるのか？
え？ケイチ君にはレナのことどう見えるかな？
The Rena Ryuga that I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle, ideal girl.
本当にだったら嬉しいかな。
If she was the opposite of what she seemed, that would make her...
逆なのだとしたら？
Just try saying it. I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant.
レナは？
レナは？
逆になってもレナだよ。だろ？
This question shouldn't have been so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but even saying that took a strange amount of effort.
ずるいな、ケイチ君。そんな言い方されちゃったら気になっちゃうよ。
Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Rena's face began to burn red with embarrassment.
レナ、ケイちゃん、帰ろう。
Mion walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around in my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there was missing.
どうしたの、ケイちゃん？
いつも持ってるはずのうちの鍵がないんだよ。参ったな。どこにやっちゃったかな。親はいるから今日はいいけど、まずいよな。
それは困るね。忘れてきたの？それとも落としちゃったのかな？
Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh?
ケイちゃん、その鍵の特徴は？
キーホルダーがついてる。昔夏休みの宿題で作らされたやつで、青いオットセイなんだよ。
あれ？目をつぶった感じでお昼寝してるみたいなやつ？
なんで知ってるんだよ。そうそう、それだよ。
Mion looked away and began to whistle.
さ、おとといケイちゃんエンジェルモートに食事に行ったでしょ。その晩さ、お店で鍵の落とし物があったんだよ。それにオットセイのキーホルダーがついてた。
As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it.
あの時に落としちゃったのか。
でも見つかってよかったね。お店がきっと預かってくれてるよ。
そうだね。行ってみなよ。シオンの顔、私と同じだからわかるでしょ。
This was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion, but I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with this other side of Mion might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think about things like this.
そうだな。エンジェルモートだっけ？シオンの店に行って鍵を返してもらって、ついでにお茶でも飲んで優雅に過ごすってのも悪くないな。
なんだか英国紳士みたいだね。ケイちゃんには似合わないかも。
ひょっとしてそのお店かな。みーちゃんの妹の働いてるお店は。
ああ、なんならレナも一緒に行くか。
ちょっと残念だけど今日はお父さんと約束があるからまたの機会にするね。
Reina seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity.
双子だそうだけどそんなにそっくりなのかな。間違えるくらい？
ああ、そっくりだ。外見だけはそっくりだ。中身はミオンと違っておしとやかで実に可愛らしいのにな。
In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. I couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. After going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking what I would be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion, a name for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. I noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Reina said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew about that side, these feelings mixed together. That was Shion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Until she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. The last time I wasn't embarrassed since I was here with Dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meet Shion, get my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Kichimaibara? You're just here to get your key back, you know? It's not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. The thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to the realization that I was downright giddy. That's why, for just a bit, just a tiny little bit, I got a little carried away and did something really stupid. I kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. I definitely think I got too carried away. Funk clack. Crash. As the three bikes toppled one after another like dominoes, the loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses.
Yaba!
The owners of those three bikes were right there. They looked exactly like what you'd call thugs up to no good. They lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I had never heard before. The three of them beelined towards me, the worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I could only stare listlessly, as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. By the time I realized it, I had been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. The three thugs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away. My legs buckled and my throat grew dry enough to crack.
すみません。ついじゃねえだろ。蹴ったねえかよ、ボケ。
I was completely at fault, so there was nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher.
なちくしょう。塗装剥げたじゃねえかよ。おあれ。怪我したらいするつもりじゃ。悪いのてめえなんだぞこんなら。
The three of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them were saying. Getting further enraged that I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. They then slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. Smash. The shutter let out a frighteningly loud noise. Still not satisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. This was not normal. It was something you saw often on television or in manga, but I never thought seeing it in person would be this terrifying. I became painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. This is what you would call absolute terror. There was nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. I could only pray for help. The fear I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? My gaze floundered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these three hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. Maybe this was what you call reaping what you sow. If I were a passerby, there would be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. So this was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Angry yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums. Drums spewed forth right in front of my face. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body, then suddenly a metallic taste filtered through the back of my throat. A chill ran down my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and grit my teeth.
やかましいよクソボケどもが。私の目の黒いうちに失せな。
That voice was a short distance away. Still holding me by the collar, the three thugs spun around to look behind them. Standing there was Shion. I mean, Mion. She stood there displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them, the eyes of a raptor. They were the epitome of terror, the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world.
もう一度だけ言うよ。ケイちゃん話してとっとと失せな。
Miyun, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those three wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. Stop it, Miyun. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work.
ミオン、危ないから早く。
I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Miyun get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Miyun was only bluffing. But did Miyun even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. At first, it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Miyun, there was already about 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because the group that gathered was diverse in age and gender. The 3 thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Behind them at some point, 4 more people of differing clothes and ages had gathered. A girl who looked to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in a house cleaning smock. More and more people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Miyun's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa. More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okinomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Miyun included. That made everything completely unnatural, and depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together, back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle.
おまわりさん、いいところに来ました。恐喝の現行犯です。捕まえてください。なんだこれ。
Miyun, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course, the thugs were furious, but now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss.
分かったから。ちょっとおいで。
いいからいいから。
The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars.
話せよ。俺らが被害者なんだよ。聞いてんのか、チキショウ。
No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the two vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible.
大丈夫です。お怪我ありませんか？
He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face.
いえ、別に。
それは不幸中の幸いでした。では、良いお年を。
The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd.
市民の皆さんの迅速な通報に感謝します。住民の皆さんの連帯のおかげで今日も町の平穏が保たれています。素晴らしいことです。
お仕事ご苦労様です、大石刑事殿。住民を代表して日頃の公務に感謝いたします。一家の刑事がわざわざこんなところまでおいでくださるとは光栄の極みです。
The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone.
偶然です。県警の帰り道に無線連絡が入りましてね。寄り道したわけです。
お仕事頑張ってください。今後のご活躍を切に祈っております。
いえいえ。でも怪我人が出なくて本当に良かったです。
大石さん、オーケーっす。行きましょう。
ではでは、良いお年を。失礼。道を開けてもらえますかな。
The detective named Oishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly, I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply.
おっしゃ、一丁上がりだね。おととい来やがれっての。
That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up.
大丈夫かい、前原の坊や。今度からは喧嘩は相手を選んでやるな。
別に喧嘩ってわけじゃ。
怪我とかしてない？頭とかぶつけてるならレントゲンを取っておいた方がいいわよ。
An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury.
たまたま駅前で人通りの多い時間だったからこれだけ集まれたけど、次からは気をつけるんだよ。最近の町もが物騒なんだから。はあ、まったく。
I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me.
いやいや、ケイちゃんもやるじゃない。でも私も相手を選んだ方がいいと思いますけどね。
サンキューな、ミオ。助かったよ。
だから私、シオン。
She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment.
お姉に聞いてますよ。オットセイの鍵、あれケイちゃんのですって？
あ、うん、そうだった。これからお店に行こうとしてたんだった。
それで浮かれてて、 あんな変なのに絡まれちゃってたんですか？
Now it was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on.
まあついてなかったよ。でもシオンのおかげで助かった。
お礼はいらないですよ。だからケイちゃんも他の人がいじめられてるのを見つけたらきっと助けてあげてください。私たちそういうのをとても大切にするから。
I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie, but the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. While I was helped out, it was honestly to an almost disturbing degree.
お店来ますよね。疲れちゃっただろうから一服しません？おごりますよ。
Seems that she caught a glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little, I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I had been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee.
はいこれおごりのアイスコーヒー。レジでこのチケット渡せば無料になりますからね。
My patheticness really knew no bounds. But since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it had started out as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I had completely ruined it.
でも本当にさっきのは助かったよ。シオンが本当に頼もしく見えた。
私だって怖かったですよ。でも他ならぬケイちゃんのピンチだし、勇気出して頑張りましたってことです。
While a little embarrassed by what she had said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly.
シオン本当にありがとうな。
I was thinking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you.
ほらほら、もう元気出してくださいよ。もしも恩義を感じるなら、今度はケイちゃんが他の誰かのために戦ってくださいね。例えば私がピンチになったら、きっと助けに来てくださいよ。
ああ、もちろんだ。約束する。
絶対ですからね。
Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise.
ピンチになったらケイちゃんが助けに来てくれるのか。早くピンチにならないかな。あ、やっと笑ってくれた。
She said as she smiled herself, poking me in the cheek.
元気のないケイちゃんなんて偽物もいいとこです。ほら笑って笑って。
くすぐったいってば。やめ。
Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little.
元気出たらお腹とか空いてこないです？私お腹空いちゃいましたからホットケーキとか食べたいんですけど、ケイちゃんも食べます？
I wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. That's why I replied without any.
うまいんだろうな。俺ホットケーキはかなりうるさいぜ。
安心してください。うちのホットケーキはかなり評判いいですから。
Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of weird.
おいおい、そういえばシオン、今バイト中じゃないのか？俺とずっと話をして油を売ってていいのかよ。
おじさんにね、私が不良に絡まれてるところをケイちゃんが助けてくれたって言ったら、ねぎらってあげろって。だから店長公認で OK です。
それ事実と正反対だぞ。いいのかな？
全然いいのです。
By the time the pancakes arrived, we had entered into a relaxed conversation. As the two of us ate pancakes, we livened the mood with some chit-chat. About what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food. Really, nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Maebara. Shion and Miyun are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Miyun admitted she was Miyun. But given that, how come our conversation was this different?
ケイちゃんってお姉のことを女だと思ってないでしょう。
そんなことはないよ。男だったら容赦なくどつき倒してる。
ケイちゃんとお姉が仲がいいのってそういうノンセクシャルな関係にあると思うんです。それってなかなかできない羨ましい関係ですよ。
言ってる意味がよくわかんないが、まあ確かに女にしとくにはもったいないやつだよな。
あ、ケイちゃん、それ男女差別ですよ。
Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. What was I prejudiced against Miyun and Shion for? Miyun was Miyun. She was the best friend a guy could have, no reservations and head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I had met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this, I had no doubt. Then what about Shion? She was Miyun's little sister and it hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Her relationship was much more distant as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. The difference between Miyun and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I had stopped listening to Shion.
例えばですよ。聞いてます？
なあ、ごめん。聞いてるよ。
例えばですよ。私とお姉が共にピンチで、崖にぶら下がってるとします。ケイちゃんはどっちを助けます？どっちか一人だけですよ。
She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice.
嫌な問題だな。どっちも助けたいけど、それじゃダメなんだろ？
ダメです。シオンかミオンのどっちかだけです。どっちですか？
If it were Miyun, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as it's something she could easily get out of herself. But what about the normal, frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice.
お姉じゃないですよね。
If Mion and Shion were different people, I suppose it would come to that. I couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine.
つまりそういうことなんですよ。お姉はそのつまりあれすみません、なんか自分で言ってて破綻しちゃいました。
Shion was trying to talk in a light-hearted manner, but I felt there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around.
それよりもさっきのあれ驚きましたか？
そりゃ驚いたよ。レナやサトコが駆けつけてくれるならともかく、あんなに老若男女がいろいろと集まってくるんだからな。あれ全部ひなみ沢の人なんだろ？
ええ、そうです。ひなみ沢の人はみんな結束してるんですよ。一人の敵は全員の敵。日和見なんか誰もしません。結構頼もしい住民性なんですよ。
誰かがいじめられたらみんなで結束してやっつけるわけか。なんだかマフィアとかヤクザみたいな結束だな。
そんなこと言っちゃダメですよ。とてもありがたいことなんですから。ケイちゃんもそれに助けられたんですよ。感謝の気持ちを忘れないように。
I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative.
ひなみ沢の人たちって本当に仲が良くて結束してるんだな。
昔からの伝統かな。ひなみ沢って昔からいろいろと敗走の危機に遭うんですよね。その度に結束して戦って存続を勝ち取ってきたっていう歴史があるんですよ。例えばケイちゃん、ひなみ沢ダム計画って知ってます？
Hinamitsawa Dam Project? Let's see. I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before.
10年くらい前にね、突然ここにダムができてひなみ沢のは丸ごと水没するって話になったんですよ。
あ、そんな話親父かなんかに聞いたことがあるような。でもそれって確か中止になったんだろ？
中止にさせたんですよ。みんなで団結して。だからこれは戦って勝ち取った勝利なんです。
That sounded pretty much like the story I heard. The protest intensified to the point where it was protested in newspapers and magazines. Sorry, it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended.
ダムの話そのものは私が生まれる前からあったらしいんです。最初は候補地調査とか砂防のための小さいダムとかそんな程度の話だったんですよ。
But then, the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamitsawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. The protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to go to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowner sued the government, stating there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project.
土地の買収なんていうお金の問題のうちは可愛かったんです。そのうち土地の強制収用をちらつかせるようになりましてね。その頃からです。機動隊とかの暴力行為が目立ち始めたのは。
機動隊って警察だろ。暴力行為なんてするのかよ。
殴りますよ、蹴りますよ。私も殴られたことありますし、この辺だったかな、皮が切れちゃったみたいで血がすごい出ました。
saying that Shion indicated her temple by poking at it.
警察とかには
Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. You wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties.
うちのバッチャ烈火のごとく怒り狂いましてね。それからがすごかった。もう全面戦争ですよ。こっちも座り込みで訴えるなんて生っちょろいことなんかしません。ガンガン攻めました。
First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. Then, in order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamitsawa was a valuable nature preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project and demanded his resignation. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamitsawa, a ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special exposé themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamitsawa. Either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago.
私たちにできることなら何でもしました。村全部が一丸になって戦ったんです。あの時は必死だったけど、終わった今となってはいい思い出かな。村人たちの連帯感や団結心は今でも消えていないんです。
Shion said that as she focused off into the distance, I felt that those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride.
そういう連帯感っていいよな。なかなかないことだよ。世代を超えて地域で団結できるなんて。
私もそう思います。ダム計画は試練だったけど、それを乗り越えて得たものはとても大きいと思いますよ。
The fear I was feeling until just now gradually began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged with those thugs, I thought it was frightening. But now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. The villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. The sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Hinamizawa when the protest against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of solidarity.
ケイちゃんは反対運動の時ひなみ沢にいなかったから村人たちの連帯感を実感できないかもしれないけど、みんなにはあるの、しっかりと。それはたとえ引っ越してきたばかりのケイちゃんに対してもね。
She couldn't have been more right. So many people got together to help me out when I just moved here. Even though they were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began welling up inside of me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. I thought that was natural. But here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me.
園崎さん、店長がホール入ってほしいそうです。
A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time for work.
はい、すみません、もう仕事しないとまずいみたいです。
いいよいいよ、付き合ってくれてありがとな。楽しかったよ。
帰っちゃいます？
まあな、飯の時間には戻らないとおふくろがうるさいし。
It seemed that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed Mion like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little bit longer when Shion got up from her seat.
はいこれ。このチケットで払えばホットケーキ代も大丈夫ですから。
Saying that, she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me.
便利でしょ？お給料の他にもらえるボーナスチケットなんですよ。
いいよ、ホットケーキ代くらい払えるよ。
おやおや、遠慮するなんてケイちゃんらしくないですよ。私がお姉だったら喜んでおごられるくせに。
She said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me.
園崎さん、すみません。レジ入ってください。あ、はい、今すぐ。
Later, today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled once more. One more time at me.
なあミオン、今日は本当にありがとうな。この恩は忘れないよ。
そう思うならきっと返してください。楽しみにしてますから。
After I said it, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. Lazing around and watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. It might seem like a waste at first glance, but you could say it was an important time when I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to economics to various trivia. After dinner was valuable time well spent while the brain was at its most supplied with nutrients.
バカバカ、東京タワーの方が高いに決まってるだろう。
Today I tested my knowledge of trivia by watching my weekly quiz show. Sitting in front of the television, I was able to get a lot of the answers right. But if I were actually up on stage, I'd probably fail miserably.
ケイチ、園崎さんから電話よ。
はいよ。園崎？ ミオンか。
It was a little late for her to be calling. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a hunch it was something to do with club activities. She was probably going to inform me about what we were doing tomorrow. This was Mion we were talking about. She might even go so far as to say we're doing club activities right now, so hurry up and come over. By the way, it was 8 p.m.
もしもし、今から部活の野戦ってのは却下だぞ。
じゃなくて、
It was Mion, but it was a very un-Mion-like way of talking. Huh? Could it be?
ごめん。ひょっとしてミオンじゃなくてシオンか？
そうです。どうもこんばんは。夜分遅くにすみません。
For Mion, this would have been an ill-fittingly polite way of talking. But since it was Shion, it was natural. Even though they were both the same person. With a dry smile, I enjoyed that mysterious feeling.
いや別にいいよ。それより何の用だい？
ケイちゃんはケーキとかデザートとか甘いものは好きですか？
There was no way I hated them. I'm an unabashed glutton.
ならよかったです。実はですね、夏の新デザートコンテストってのがありまして。
Looks like they have a new dessert menu every season. So, they were hiring taste testers for potential desserts.
エンジェルモートのデザートはかなり評判いいんですよ。モニターの募集もかなり倍率高いんです。それで担当職人の話、じゃーん。
じゃーんと言われても見えないからわからないけど、ひょっとして。
そうです。そのモニターチケットがここにあるってわけです。もしも甘いものが嫌いじゃないならいかがですか？
いかがですかってつまりなんだよ。そのチケットで俺が新デザートを食い放題とそういうわけなのか？
They say to beware of honey pots, but this is sweeter than any pot of honey. All you can eat free dessert? No way!
OK ならモニター当選者の末番に名前を書いておきますね。明日お店に来たら係の者に名前を言ってください。それで万事 OK ですから。
万事 OK ってそれで食べ放題なのか？無料なのか？
ええ、無料です。結構ありますからお腹を空かせてくることをお勧めします。
This was such a delectable opportunity. It was almost scary. This was really Shion, right? It wasn't Mion posing as Shion in order to bait me into a trap, was it? What am I saying? They're the same person.
はいはい。ケイちゃんの考えてることは分かってますよ。こんな美味しい話があるわけないって思ってるんでしょ？
ギク。いや、そんなことは全然。
お姉から聞いてますけど、つくづく嘘のつけない人なんですね。私、そういうの嫌いじゃないです。
Shion laughed with a voice that sounded a lot like how Mion would laugh.
下心ってわけじゃないんですけど、実は私、明日はちょっとバイトしたらすぐに終わりなんです。もしもご迷惑じゃなかったら、その後ちょっとご一緒してもらってもいいかなって思って。
明日のバイトはすぐ終わっちゃうんだ。
はい。だからケイちゃんがデザート食べながらのんびりしてるうちに終わっちゃうんです。
まあ俺も特に用事はないし、多少付き合うくらいなら構わないよ。
別にどこかに行くわけでもないです。夕涼みしながらお散歩でもできたらなって思ってるだけですから。
There was no reason for me to refuse. Out of courtesy, I might as well take her up on her offer.
そういえばケイちゃんと私ってなんだか毎日会ってますよね。
言われてみればそうだな。
でも OK してもらえたおかげでまた明日も会える口実を作ることができました。
Huh? What was Mion saying?
ケイちゃん、なんだか声が裏返ってます。どうしたんでしょうね。
It wasn't a video phone. She could tell I was beet red.
じゃあ明日きっと来てくださいね。それじゃあこれで失礼します。おやすみなさい。
おやすみ。
Shion finished with what she had called to say, ended the conversation without any chit-chat. When I returned to the living room after hanging up the phone, the TV was already off and my mom was sleeping in the rocking chair. Not feeling like turning the TV back on, I went back upstairs and returned to my room.
俺シオンに世話になってばかりだよな。
She brought me bento and saved me when I got involved with those thugs. She was supposed to be a different person, so I could thank Mion at school. Come to think of it, she'd probably just say she'd pass it on to her sister. I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow, I'll have to repay her somehow. Thus concludes Day 4 then. Let us just check this tip out before we round things off, shall we?
で俺たちが逮捕されなきゃなんねえんだろ。すっとらってんじゃねえ。話さんけこれ。
クマちゃん、腕を離してあげていいですよ。さあ、どうぞおかげになって。
The three people rubbed their arms painfully. Kumatani-kun and the others must have been squeezing them pretty tightly.
お兄さんたち誤解しないでくださいよ。別に逮捕したわけじゃないんだから。クマちゃん、冷蔵庫から冷たいの出してあげてください。お兄さんたちは泡の出る麦茶と出ない麦茶どっちがいいです？ん？
They plunked down onto the reception sofa, and despite not yelling anymore, they still had dangerous expressions. What I'd give it to be young again.
飲まないなら私勝手に飲んじゃいますよ。失礼してピシッと。勤務中に飲むビールが一番美味しいですね。
As he downed the beer with glee, the three people changed glances, then finally reached out for their cans. They hadn't stopped being cautious, it was more like they didn't see a reason to refuse. They each opened their cans and began drinking the contents.
お兄さんたちはどっから来たんです？ここいらの人じゃないでしょう。
They looked at each other again, suspicious of whether they should tell him.
お兄さんたち大学生？お友達同士？バイクか何かで旅行中だったんでしょうかね。羨ましいなあ。家は近くってわけじゃないんでしょ？どっから来たの？大阪ですかな？
んなのどこでもいいだろ。
まあそう凄まないで。あのままいたらお兄さん方だってやばかったでしょ。
They seemed to recall the thrilling event from earlier. While they could understand, getting surrounded by students or a gang or something along those lines. They would never have been surrounded by locals, both young and old, both men and women, before. It was easy to imagine how scared they must have been.
ここいらの人間ならどんな間違いがあってもひなみ沢の人間には手出ししないですよ。あそこの連中は特殊なんです。子供の喧嘩に親は出てくるな、なんてもんじゃない。一人をいじめたらそれこそ村中が総出でやってきますよ。いやほんと脅しでも何でもなく。
They couldn't argue against that. They themselves had been surrounded. They'd seen it with their own eyes. There was no doubt about it.
ここいらじゃねえ。ひなみ沢の人間に睨まれたらあっさり鬼隠しにあって消えちまうんです。もう跡形もなく忽然と。お兄さん方行方不明になったら誰か捜索願いを出してくれるご家族はいます？いないならまずいな。蒸発扱いですよ。
Even then, we got there soon enough that nothing happened. If we'd been late, things could have taken a turn for the worse. If they'd been forced into an alleyway, these young men wouldn't be sitting on a couch right now. They might be lying on an autopsy table. Well, probably not. Anyway, perhaps they'd be a little more cooperative if we'd found them as corpses.
お兄さん方、沖宮へは何で来たの？電車？バイク？
バイク。
そりゃまずいな。さっきのとこにまだ止めっぱなしなんでしょ？あんたらのこのことバイクを取りに戻ったら今度こそ袋叩きに遭いますよ。
なんだよそれ。上等じゃねえか。
Calm down, calm down. Why are young people these days so quick with the shouting?
あんたらももう面倒ごとはごめんでしょう。バイクのナンバー教えてください。ここまで持ってきてあげますから。クマちゃん、交通課対策にゲート車を借りてきてください。
別にいいよ。自分たちで取りに行くからいいって。
あんたら本気で囲まれたいんですか。今度は警察間に合わないかもしれませんよ。
大丈夫だっつったんだろ。囲み上等で。
おい、お兄さん方、あんたら今泡の出る麦茶飲んだろ。エンジンかけてみろ。その場で飲酒取るぞこら。
汚ねえ。
警察が税金使って兄さん方のバイクを運びして死んぜよって言ってんだよ。ごちゃごちゃ言わねえでナンバー言えってんだこのクソバカ野郎。
The three were hesitant to tell him the numbers. They were mumbling something along the lines of not remembering them since they'd just bought the bikes. Well, that's what I thought. Ha.
クマちゃん、ゲート車に同行してバイク持ってきてあげて。ごつい赤いやつとテールランプの右側が割れたやつ。あとシートにガムテ貼ってあった白いやつ。それだろ、兄さんたちのバイク。
They didn't answer. Those must be the right ones.
おいさん、ゲート車来ましたんで行ってきます。
はいはい、よろしくお願いします。あとクマちゃん、ちょっと。
なんすか？
ナンバー紹介しといてください。間違ったバイクを持ってきちゃうと悪いから。
The three people's faces changed color. They made themselves very easy to understand.
バイク戻ってくるまでのんびりしてましょうよ。ビールもっとありますよ。乾き物だってありますし。テレビ見ます？ろくなのやってませんけどね。
いいよ、俺たちもう行くから。こんなとこにいつまでもいたくねえよ。
Suddenly there were 5 or 6 huge officers surrounding them. Their clearly overpowering stares nailed them to the sofa.
なんだよ。俺たちが何かしたかよ。
Going on a trip by stealing motorcycles, huh? Students these days have too much time on their hands. Interesting. Anyway, we'll see about that. What was it? The eating contest tomorrow on day 5 of Higurashi Watanagashi. Until then, thank you for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode, hopefully. But until then, bye for now.